again to Conskill English. I am your host, Menchi Pascual. In the previous episode, we learned about the process approach to writing. Writing is a recursive process because it goes through several stages and repeats some of these stages. Today, we shall talk about the requirements of topical paragraphs, and these are unity, completeness, order, and coherence. These are the factors that contribute to effective paragraph writing. An effective topical paragraph must meet 4 requirements. First, it must discuss one topic only. That is, its statements and illustrations must display a unity of subject matter, often expressed in a topic sentence. Second, it must say all that the readers need to know about the topic. It must be complete enough to do what it is intended to do. Third, the sentences within the paragraph must exhibit an order that the readers can recognize and follow. Fourth, the sentences within the paragraph must display coherence, allowing readers to move easily from one sentence to the next without feeling that there are gaps in the sequence of ideas. We'll talk more about these requirements after a few reminders. Please stand by. Welcome once again. What is unity in paragraph development? Paragraph unity requires the careful development of the idea in the paragraph. To achieve this, each sentence must show a clear connection to the topic sentence. Let me show you a sample paragraph to illustrate my point. The people's community is not an actual place, but an assortment of principles. The friendship among members, the common Tao feeling, the sharing syndrome are all central to the first sense of belongingness. Second paragraph, the community is located in a landscape where members can commune with everyday happenings, going to the market, haggling, wrestling with traffic, and others. Third, their culture contains many caring, loving, down-to-earth dealings with the people in the middle of noise, pollution, and congestion. 4. But whatever is offered to the members of this community, life goes on as time passes by. Notice that each succeeding sentence casts light on the topic. All the sentences together focus on the distinguishing features of the people's community. Any sentence that drifts away from the topic blurs the focus of the paragraph and obscures the purpose. The second major requirement of an effective paragraph is completeness. The extent to which an idea is explained is determined by the kind of explanation the readers need. The writer decides this on the basis of his or her knowledge of the subject. Now, too much information can overwhelm the readers. Too little can annoy them. Inexperienced writers tend to supply too little detail. Consider this example. Sign language is a language unto itself. It has its own rules that determine the meaning and significance of each gesture. Experts familiar with these rules can use their hands to communicate extremely complex thoughts. If that is all the writer says about sign language, most readers will find the paragraph incomplete because the first 2 sentences are mere statements of the topic. This paragraph would only satisfy readers already familiar with sign language. And even then, such readers would not even need this brief paragraph. The writer must provide further explanation. Take a look at this paragraph this time. Sign language is a language unto itself with its own syntax and grammar. Adjectives follow nouns, as in Romance languages. In sign, one says, House blue, establishing a picture of what is being described and then embellishing on that. Many sign language sentences begin with a time element and then proceed with what happened, thereby conjugating the verbs, the movement of the shoulders, the speed of the hands, the facial expression, the number of repetitions of a sign. All these combine with the actual signs to give meaning to the language. How different is this paragraph from the first? Obviously, the additions to the paragraph clarify the concept of sign language. Detailed information is necessary to make the meaning of the short paragraph clear. Of course, you can tell your students that they can always begin with a short paragraph if their purpose is to state the idea and then develop the topic sentence in greater detail in a subsequent paragraph. In that case, the second paragraph would complete the first paragraph. These examples demonstrate that your students need to spell out the implications of a topic sentence with facts, illustrations, whatever is needed. Unless they give the readers the necessary information, they will fail to achieve their purpose. They easily could give flesh, so to speak, to incomplete paragraphs once they realize that every generalization must be developed with supporting details. The third major requirement of an effective paragraph is order. You saw in the previous examples that when sentences point in various directions, readers are likely to have trouble following the writer's line of reasoning. What is order in paragraph writing? Order in a paragraph is like organization in an essay, but because paragraphs are smaller in scope, it may be more appropriate to describe order as direction of movement. There are 4 directional patterns in expository paragraphs, and these are: 1, from general to particular; 2, from particular to general; 3, from whole to parts; 4, from question to answer, or from effect to cause. Let's take up the first directional pattern, general to particular. This pattern moves from a general statement, often a topic sentence, to specific explanations or illustrations of that statement. You saw this kind of classification in the paragraph on sign language. The purpose of the paragraph is to help the reader understand the general statement. That meaning becomes increasingly clear as the paragraph progresses. A particular to general pattern reverses the preceding pattern. It begins with specific information and leads to a general conclusion, as in this example. We look at family photographs in which we stand next to plush and posh backgrounds and in which we are wearing period costumes, and we do not gaze fascinated because there we are, young again, or there we are standing, as we never will again in life, next to our mother. We stare and drift because there we are, historical. It is the dress or the shirt, the red car that interests us now and draws us beyond our mother's arms, which once caught us. We reach into the attractive impersonality of something more significant than ourselves. Notice that the writer uses several general to particular patterns to discuss the search for a family past. In the example, she reverses the order to emphasize the particulars, family photographs, and then she returns to the general to particular order in the next paragraph, when she explores the impersonality of history. Sometimes the purpose of a paragraph is to show the parts or divisions of a topic. Let's take a look at how a teacher makes her students see that one directional pattern in writing expository paragraphs is from whole to parts.
Class, I'd like you to read this composition on friends. Later, I shall ask you to find out how this was developed. Now, can someone read the text, please? Everyone's raising his or her hand. Very good. How about Donna?
They are medium friends, pretty good friends, and very good friends indeed. and these friendships are defined by their level of intimacy. And what we will reveal at each of these levels of intimacy is calibrated with care. We might tell a medium friend, for example, that yesterday we had a fight with our husband. And we might tell a pretty good friend that this fight with our husband made us so mad that we slept on the couch. And we might tell a very good friend that the reason we got so mad in that fight that we slept on the couch had something to do with that girl who works in his office. But it's only to our very best friends that we're willing to tell all, to tell what's going on with that girl in his office.
Thank you, Donna. That was well done. Now, class, I have one question, okay? What does the opening statement seem to announce? Yes, you can answer that. How about Jordash?
I think that there are divisions, ma'am.
And what do you mean by that?
I mean, there are 3 types of friends mentioned. And they are medium friends, pretty good friends, and very good friends.
Okay, very good. What do the rest of the paragraph identify? Yes, Russell?
Ma'am, they identify and define each part.
And how do we call the order of the paragraph parts in this? You can answer that. Okay, we call it partitive or enumerative. Russell, you seem to have a question, yes? What?
Ma'am, why do we call it partitive?
Let me throw the question back to you. Okay, why do you call the order partitive? What do you think is the reason? Yes.
Ma'am, the paragraph seems to have partitions or divisions, while at the same time, it seems to enumerate things.
Very good. That's correct, Jenny.
The students were really good, weren't they? Remember, the partitive or enumerative paragraph is often used in arguments, either to introduce the issues to be considered or to summarize a discussion. In expository writing, it is used to introduce the categories to be analyzed. We will take up the last directional pattern when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back. What is the question to answer? Effect to cause, directional pattern. A paragraph may begin with a question and then give the answer, or with an effect followed by a pause. Such a paragraph may have no specific topic sentence beyond the opening question or statement of the effect. This paragraph begins with a question which it proceeds to answer. Take a look at this example. So, what are we to do with the traffic congestion in Metro Manila? Think of the problems it creates. Do you feel like answering the question? I am sure you do. Now, I'd like you to look at the next example. A paragraph that begins with an effect and then considers some of the causes of that effect. Traffic congestion in Metro Manila has hindered the growth of Philippine economy. Could this statement be the topic sentence too? Why not? What do you expect to read after this? I am sure you expect to read the causes of the effect. Why don't you try to complete the paragraph by enumerating the causes? Now, the last major requirement of an effective paragraph is coherence. What is coherence? Let's see how a teacher makes her students realize the importance of coherence in writing paragraphs.
Class, look at this drawing. What can you say about it? Yes, Edna?
Now she has a lot of question marks on her head.
And why do you think that she has a lot of question marks on her head?
She looks confused.
Okay, we will call this drawing Miss Confused. Now, Jordash, can you describe to us a confused person?
Ma'am, a person who is confused is unclear about something.
Very good. What else? Yes, Luis.
She's uncertain about something.
Who else can add to that? How about, yes, Norma, what can you say about a confused person?
When she is mixed up. I mean, she doesn't really know what she's up to.
What was the teacher trying to do? You're right. She was eliciting responses from the students using the drawing as a stimulus. At that stage of the lesson, she wanted to know her students' understanding of the state of being confused and the language items. Now, let's go back to the classroom and see the rest of the lesson.
Class, do you sometimes feel confused?
Yes, ma'am.
And when do you feel confused? Francis?
When I'm not sure about something.
What about you? How about you? Yes, Donna?
Ma'am, when I am mixed up and I don't know what I really want to do.
Do you sometimes feel confused after reading a text, class?
Yes.
And when do you feel confused after reading a text? How about Jenny?
Ma'am, when I don't understand what I read.
Who else can add to that? How about you, Jonathan?
When I'm not sure about the process of writing.
Okay. Who else? Sherwin?
Ma'am, I feel confused when the text I read does not make sense to me.
Very good. Now, class, what I'd like you to do is to read this sample paragraph. In high school, I, difficult and different, I not found my best friends. I not study hard. I played and played my teacher's stick. I liked no assignments, mother not given me allowance. He in elementary was big mouth, I not listen. I like recess. I no like class. In elementary, no study, I no project, I like ice cream, basketball. Luz Clarita, my favorite TV. I like Angelou and Bobby. Now, class, how do you feel about the text? Yes, Edna.
That's so good, Mom. I could hardly understand the text.
How about Jordash? Yes, you. Do you have something to say?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think this text makes sense to me, ma'am.
And can you tell us why?
Yes, ma'am.
Go on.
This text talks about many things. In the first sentence, it says about high school being different and difficult. Then it shifts into having no best friends. Then it went back into having not studying and so on.
Thank you very much, Jordash. Now, Luis, you were saying that the logical arrangement of the language items used blurs the development of the main idea.
Yes, Mom.
Who else can add to that? You have something to say? Yes. How about Edna?
I do agree with Luis, ma'am. And some of these words, phrases, and sentences hindering the development of the main idea.
Yes. So you're saying, Edna, that there are words, phrases, and sentences which are not necessary in this paragraph?
Yes, ma'am.
Take note of how teacher Nika rephrases her students' responses. Rephrasing correct concepts about the lesson reinforces the students' understanding. Before we go back to the classroom to see what teacher Nika will do next, let's pause for some reminders. Welcome back. Join me once again in the classroom and see the rest of the lesson.
Okay, class, let us summarize what we have said about the paragraph which you had just read, okay? This paragraph doesn't make any sense because it contains details which are irrelevant or excessive, incomplete or lacking, unrelated, and illogically arranged. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a T diagram. Okay, I'm going to draw one on the board. Okay, now this T diagram will look like this. Okay, on the first column, I will write down the word school. And on the second column, I will write down the word leisure. These are the things that you do outside of school. Okay, what I would like you to do is to write down words or phrases related to school under column 1, and then also write down words or phrases which are related to leisure or the things that you do outside of school under column 2. Okay, understood? Yeah. Okay, now, what I'd like you to do is to group yourselves into 2. Okay, do this by pairs. Now, are there any questions? Yeah. Okay, go on with your pair work.
Do you think the tree diagram can help the writer eliminate excessive details and focus only on relevant ones? Teacher Nika uses the tree diagram to group details. This will separate unrelated details and put related details together in groups. Let's see what they have come up with.
Okay, class, time's up. Now, class, what details are to be written in column 1 under the title school? Yes? Yes, Francis, kindly come forward. Write down whatever word or phrase which you can think of. Yes, who else? Who else has something to write under the column 1? Yes, how about Donna? Donna? Assignment.
Why are you laughing at?
Very good. What's your word there? Project. Who else? Yes, how about Russell? Yes. I'll call on you later. Edna. Yes, Russell? Let's see. There. Playing basketball. Okay, thank you. Now, class, let us see what we have written down on the board. Are there any details which do not belong to this column, which should not be included here?
Yes.
What do you think?
Basketball.
Basketball. Do you agree with that, Russell?
No, ma'am, because we're also playing basketball in our PEM class.
Yeah, you know, Russell is right, okay? Now, what we'll do is that we're going to write down a listing of details under column 2, okay? This time around under leisure, or things that you do outside of school. Now, who would like to do that? Can I see a raise of hands? Yes, how about Jonathan? You haven't decided yet. Playing basketball. Right. Thank you. Who else? Yes, Johnny? Later. Yeah, viewing TV. Very good. Thank you. Very good, class. Now, what I'm going to do is to group you into 2 groups, okay? Group 1 will stay over here and group 2 will stay over here. Now, in order for you to be grouped into 2, now, I would like you to count off 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you do that? Yes, Donna? Let's start with you.
1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, all number 1s go to this side, okay? And then all number 2s go to this side. Okay, you may go to your group now. Carry your chairs. Where's group 1? Where's group 1? Here. Okay, group 2. Okay, group 1, you're assigned to look at the details in column 1. Okay, and then group 2, you're assigned to look at the details in column 2. Okay, what I'd like you to do is to select a leader. This leader will facilitate the group discussion. Okay? Now class, talk among yourselves which details are excessive in this paragraph, or which details, which words or phrases still need to be added in order for you to come up with a central idea. Okay? You may add more words or phrases under the heading of school, and group 2, you can add words or phrases under leisure. Okay? Decide what details to use in order for you to develop your assigned writing task, and then you can start writing your paragraphs. Now, class, you cannot exceed 8 sentences, but you must not write sentences which are less than 5. Okay? You may now proceed with your task.
Teacher Nika split the original paragraph into 2 to show her students how to write a more focused paragraph. She separated unrelated details and grouped related ones. She likewise instructed them to add relevant details to help contribute to the development of the main idea or the topic. Group composition is a writing activity in which the members of the group contribute their ideas and put them into words or phrases to compose a paragraph or a longer text. The students help each other and actively involve themselves in this activity. This is one technique in teaching the writing process. It is a process because generation of ideas, organization of these ideas, and error correction take place simultaneously during the group session. The feedback stage comes in during the intergroup editing. Let's go back to the classroom and see how these are done.
Okay, class, are you ready with your compositions? Ready? Are you having a difficult time writing down your compositions? Okay, class, groups 1 and 2, listen very well. I think it will help you if you listen to my pointers, okay? What I'd like you to do is to transform these words or these phrases into sentences, okay? And from those sentences, you can now come up with a paragraph of not less than 5 and not more than 8 sentences, okay? Is that clear? Yes. I think that will make your work much easier, okay? You may now go back to your work. Okay, kindly exchange your composition with the other group. Read it silently and then ask yourselves the following questions. Does this paragraph make sense? Do all the details included in the paragraph contribute to the development of a unit of thought? Are all the details relevant? Are they related? Are they logically arranged? And lastly, are they appropriately linked? Okay? You can also make marginal notes at the side of the paragraph. Okay? Read it silently. Afterwards, I'm going to ask you to read out loud the composition of the other group. Okay, who's the group leader for group 1? Okay, Edna, kindly read aloud the work of the other group.
Our leisure activities are important as our school activities. We can divert our attention from so many school activities. We can play basketball or watch basketball players. We can view TV program. We can collect stamps or anything. These activities can be relaxing.
Okay, very good. How about group 2? Who's the group leader for group 2?
Me.
Okay, kindly read aloud the work of group 1.
School activities contribute to the development of our personality. We have assignments
to exercise our thinking skill. We have projects to put into practice what we have learned. We also have activities to exercise our body.
Okay, very good. Now, kindly return the composition to the other group. Okay, return it. And then take note of the other group's comments in editing your group composition. Okay, after that, I'd like you to rewrite your work on a pad paper or perhaps just on your notebooks, okay, in your notebooks, and then present it to the class later for final critiquing. Is that clear, class? Yes. Okay, very good. We now do so. Class, we will use the following questions as basis for our evaluation. We will now move on to our class editing. Group 2, what can you say about Group 1's work?
Ma'am, it's better than the previous paragraph.
Better? Edna, you're from Group 1. Why do you think that it is much better than your previous paragraph?
Ma'am, because we have arranged our details logically.
Yeah, logically. Very good. Now, how about you, Luis? Can you grasp the main idea?
Yes, ma'am, because the details are contributed with the development of the topic, and it is stated that in the topic sentence.
Okay, very well said, Luis. Thank you very much. Now, class, when all the details in a paragraph are necessary or relevant to the main idea, then we can very well say that the paragraph is coherent.
What is coherence? A paragraph is coherent when the sentences are woven together in such a way that readers move easily from one sentence to the next and read the paragraphs as an integrated discussion rather than as a series of separate sentences. Coherence in paragraphs can be achieved through pronoun reference, repetitive structure, contrasted elements, transitional markers, and connection between paragraphs. Let's now take up the first, pronoun reference. I'd like you to look at the sample paragraph where this is shown. Most of the settlers shared characteristics as a group. They were men, women, young and old who had already moved earlier in search of better places. They were children of parents who themselves had moved to new lands. If ever a people could be said to have been prepared for the adventure, it would be these great men and women. They possessed the assortment of skills to make the journey and to start again. This is adapted from Women's Diaries of Westward Journey. Coherence through pronoun reference refers to an antecedent. A pronoun points back or forward to create a simple, natural connection. Notice in the paragraph how the pronoun they links to the word settlers. Pronoun repetition reinforces the purpose of this paragraph to illustrate that settlers shared certain characteristics. Let's take a look at another example. This time, coherence is achieved through repetitive structure. America, the richest and the most powerful nation in the world, can well lead the way in this revolution of values. There is nothing to prevent us from paying adequate wages to school teachers, social workers, and other servants of the public to ensure that we have the best available personnel in these positions, which are charged with the responsibility of guiding our future generations. There is nothing but a lack of social vision to prevent us from paying an adequate wage to every American citizen, whether he be a hospital worker, laundry worker, maid, or day laborer. There is nothing except short-sightedness to prevent us from guaranteeing an annual minimum and livable income for every American family. There is nothing except a tragic wish to prevent us from reordering our priorities so the pursuit of peace will take precedence over the pursuit of war. There is nothing to keep us from remolding the status quo with bruised hands until we have fashioned it into brotherhood. Taken from Martin Luther King's Chaos and Community. You must have noticed the repetitive structure of the paragraph. Would you consider that purposeless repetition? Certainly not. Deliberate repetition of key words, phrases, or sentence patterns can make sentences flow into a coherent paragraph. In the example you have just seen, every sentence after the first has the same structure and the same opening word. The repeated use of the phrase, "there is nothing," produces coherence in the development of the topic. Please refer to the teaching support material for other sample paragraphs that show coherence. We will take up the other ways of achieving coherence in paragraphs when we return. Don't switch channels. Welcome once again. What are the other ways of achieving coherence in composition? So far, we have taken up two of them. One, coherence through pronoun reference, and two, coherence through repetitive structure. I'd like you to join me in the classroom to see how a teacher conducts activities to teach coherence to her students.
Class, take a look at the sample paragraph on the board. Will someone read it, please?
So Carlos and Tony were in complete contrast, representing two opposed elements in Filipino life. Carlos was the modern man emerging. Beyond him, ready to come on the stage, was the great age of technology and machinery, of crowded cities and a restless vitality. Tony, on the other hand, might have ridden down from the old age of chivalry, lance in hand, silk and banner fluttering over his head. Each man was the perfect champion of his cause, drawing both his strength and his weaknesses from the people he led.
Thank you, Sherwin. Now, class, I'd like you to answer the following questions. Who are talked about in the paragraph? Yes, Edna.
Two men, ma'am. They are Carlos and Tony.
That's correct, Edna. What is said about them? Who can answer that? Yes, how about Norma?
Mom, I think that paragraph shows the contrast in them.
And why do you say that? Who can answer that? Why do you say that there is a contrast between them? Yes, how about Luis? Luis?
Well, Mom, the paragraph says that Carlos was a modern man while Tony is a man in the past.
You could be correct there, Luis. Now, class, do you agree with Luis?
Yes, Mom.
How about you, Jenny?
Yes, Mom, I do agree with Luis. Mom, in fact, I prefer Tony to Carlos.
And what do you mean by that?
Mom, I mean that the Tony in the paragraph is rare nowadays. Ma'am, a man who is chivalrous, ready to offer assistance to a lady. A man who will always open doors to women,
Wow. I'm glad you understood the paragraph pretty well. Now, class, what I'd like you to do now is to analyze the parts of the paragraph. Where is the topic sentence located? Yes, how about Jonathan?
The first sentence is the topic sentence, which is state the main idea.
And what is the main idea of the paragraph? Yes?
The Tony and Carlos are in the complete contrast. Carlos is the modern man, while Tony is not, because he is the man of the past.
That's correct, Jonathan. Now, is there any part in the paragraph wherein the main idea is repeated? Can answer that. Jess, Jordash?
Ma'am, I think the last sentence restates the main idea.
Would you like to read it for us?
Each man was the perfect champion of his cause, drawing both his strengths and his weaknesses from the people he led. This sentence also presents contrast between Carlos and Tony.
Okay. Now, that's correct, Jonash. What about the middle sentences? What do they seem to illustrate? You can answer that. Yes, how about, yes, Donna, I haven't called it yet.
They support the main idea that illustrate the contrast between the two men.
Can we say then that the paragraph is woven together? Russell?
Yes, it is woven together. I mean, I don't see any sentence which seems to separate, or a sentence which is different from the rest. Every sentence is talking about the contrast.
Okay, that's a very good observation. Russell, class, when the sentences in a paragraph are woven together, then the paragraph is said to be coherent. And how did we achieve coherence in this paragraph? Russell, can you add to your answer a while ago?
Obviously, coherence was achieved by contrasting two personalities.
We can therefore say that one way of achieving coherence is by means of contrasting. Okay, we can achieve coherence through contrasted elements. Very good, class.
Wasn't that a good way of showing our students how to achieve coherence in composition writing? Remember, a paragraph can exhibit unity, completeness, and order, but still lack coherence. We have to make our students realize that when a writer begins to write with a sense of purpose, writing coherent paragraphs becomes easier. There are two other ways of achieving coherence in composition writing, and these are coherence through transitional markers and coherence through connection between paragraphs. Please refer to the Teaching Support Manual for a thorough explanation of each. What did we learn in this episode? I shall give you a recap of the teaching points on this writing episode after this station break. Stay tuned. What are some of the things we should remember about this episode? We took up the requirements of topical paragraphs, and we said that an effective topical paragraph must meet 4 requirements. First, it must discuss one topic only. That is, its statements and illustrations must display a unity of subject matter, often expressed in a topic sentence. Second, it must say all that the readers need to know about the topic. It must be complete enough to do what it is intended to do. Third, the sentences within the paragraph must exhibit an order that the readers can recognize and follow. Fourth, the sentences within the paragraph must display coherence. It must allow readers to move easily from one sentence to the next without making them feel that there are gaps in the sequence of ideas. I do hope you'll be able to make your students aware of these requirements. Meeting these requirements will certainly help your students write more effective compositions. In the next episode, we shall talk about... This is your host, Manchipa Pascual, saying goodbye and happy teaching.